Hi, I'm Crystal. So these are the projects I made as part of the Ugly Paper Swap 2023, hosted by Judy at my scrapbook loft. Everything's linked below. And just to refresh, these are the papers I received from my swap partner, T Friday 77, Therese, that I used as well as her sweet note and the envelope they came in. And I made some sympathy cards. I really leaned into the purple and green and tried to dilute the pattern a little bit with some solid cardstock. So I put them on a coordinating background and put some borders, and I think they turned out really well. I'm really happy with how these turned out. After this, I of course had a few leftovers left, so I had a full sheet of 6x6 in the envelope. What I had out for this project was a full-size sheet of this purple paper, which is Blackberry Bliss from Stampin' Up, and a full sheet of the dark green, which is Evening Evergreen, as well as a pretty good sized scrap of each, and several pieces of this cream paper, which is mixed media paper. And I didn't, this swap didn't come with a bunch of rules, but I decided that I wasn't going to get up and get a bunch more supplies. I just wanted to use what I had. So I had that. And then I had the envelope that this sweet note came in. I kept the note, but I sacrificed the envelope. And I just got this book of papers. So I tore a couple of papers out of that. I used the cardstock that I had. I got busy with the ink and a stencil. And the leftovers after making those two sympathy cards, and made a little book. So this is the book of Japanese papers that I got from Hamilton Book. They're just kind of fun, interesting papers. They're not the sameness that you see a lot from a lot of craft supplies. I just thought they were kind of fun. And if you're unfamiliar with Hamilton Book, I've got a link to this exact book. But they carry a lot of remaindered books at really good prices, along with DVDs, CDs, Blu-rays, large print books, cookbooks. I mean, it's a great company. So I just pulled out some coordinating paper from there. I did a ton of die cutting. They're my die cut pieces. That's what I had left at the end. And then I made this little book. So primarily I was using Tim Holtz dies from chapter 3. And I cut this stuff out and I sewed them onto this little binding. And I left the threads loose because that seems to be very much the style right now. Although it's hard to overcome years of training trying to sew neatly to sew kind of crazy. And I just sewed in a bunch of pieces. So I sewed in the mini file folders. I sewed in these little slide mounts, made one a pocket there. And then when I added some stuff later, I used a tape hinge to add some stuff. So there's another slide pocket. And I used the window from some junk mail that was on my desk to fill in that slide pocket. And you can see the sewing there on the back of that slide mount, and made a little tuck spot, teeny tiny little tuck spot, and added the jewelry tags from this die set, and just cut all the different tiny dies. And there's a little piece of that Japanese paper that I used to line it. This envelope is sewn in, and it's so fun. It's just like an interoffice mail envelope. With the thread binding and everything. And I kept using up all the scraps of the swap paper. There's another slide mount with a tape hinge and a flap with a tape hinge, and just kept going. This envelope is made from the envelope that the swap came in, which had some really cute stickers on it. So I didn't want to sacrifice the stickers. So I found a way to incorporate those, and kept using up my scraps of swap paper, and kept sewing in these file folders and these slide mounts, and just made, I think, a really cute little book. So here's another one where I've used the junk mail to make the front of that pocket on both sides, with a tape mount for each, a tape hinge for each, and another envelope. And the lining of that envelope is the last of the envelope that Teresa's sweet note came in. And that is pretty much the end of the book. That used up virtually every bit of paper, along with a few pages of this that Japanese paper, and the last of the scraps, and turning back to the page where I used the last of that last piece of 6x6, which I think coordinated really well with the rest of the supplies. So I had a great time with this swap. I really appreciate Judy hosting it. I really love the stuff that Therese sent me, and I can't wait to see everyone else's creations. So if you follow that hashtag, #UglyPaperSwap2023, you can see what everybody else made. And I'm certainly looking forward to seeing all the creations, both on YouTube and on Instagram, by following that hashtag. And I'm going to go right over to see what Therese made with my paper. Thanks for joining me.